Good evening, everybody. Hope you're doing great. Hope you had a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And hope that this Monday of yours has been a fabulous Monday. Today being Women's Day, we have with us a woman who is a divine feminine, a lady whom we consider as a goddess herself. She embodies love within her. She is a nurturer not only of her own womb, but she also helps women across the world, across the universe, to connect to their womb energies, helping them feel more liberated and more confident in their being. Let us hear more about what womb wellness and womb healing is all about from our very own Dr. Evelet Sequiera, who's the founder of Sacred Lotus Womb Academy, a TEDx speaker, a womb healer, and much, much more. Hey, Evelet!
Hey, Kanchan. It's
How are you doing?
awesome. It's awesome to be here with you and with everyone else.
How have you been, Evelet?
I've been good. Of course, there are days, some ups and downs, but today I'm good.
And a happy, happy Women's Day to you. I love the fuchsia and the saffron and the red and the black and all these colors around you.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you, Kanchan. I think what you see around me is what defines me. I am all colorful. Yeah.
Evelet, you've been doing so much of work on women. You've been doing so much of work on womb healing. What is womb healing? Because when we talk about a womb, the first thing that comes to the mind is the vagina. The first thing that comes to the mind is a uterus, and the first thing that comes to the mind is sexuality. And sex, in the context that we know in India, is more of a recreational thing. Sex is something that you just have for fun, for enjoying and giving pleasures to your body and your bodily needs. But is there anything beyond sex to the vagina and the uterus in the womb?
Okay. You have asked me like 10,000 questions in that one question. All right. So what I'm going to begin with is what is womb healing and how do I do it? Okay, because this is where I'm going to share the work that I do. And womb healing is nothing but it's an energetic healing of the womb space, or what we call in the body, the vagina, the vulva, the cervix, and the uterus with the ovaries. So the entire reproductive system of the female is what I call the physical womb space. And then there is something called the energetic womb space, which is more from an energetic or spiritual space, where a woman on a spiritual journey connects with the womb and then does her connection with the elements in nature, because we are innately women. We are women in our bodies, and our bodies are connected to Mother Earth. So how a woman connects to the womb of Mother Gaia or Mother Earth, that is what I kind of teach women. And then comes,
How is it possible? How is it possible for a woman to connect to somebody else's womb or the Mother Earth's womb?
this is all through
How is it
meditation.
possible?
It is through meditation, it is through attuning, where if I'm also a medical doctor, so somewhere when we see how the brain works, when we normally take a woman into a deeper state of meditation, and I use a technique called as the Tibetan sound bowl sounds, which take a person into a very deep state of rest and relaxation, where the brain waves go from beta state to alpha to theta. And in that state is where um, I ask the women to connect to the womb of Mother Earth. It takes them into a deeper space. And even though the brain may think it's imaginative, which it is, most of our life is imaginary. And in that space, she then can create what she wants for herself. So if we connect it to Carl Jung's psychology, it is about connecting to the unconscious within you. So the conscious world, or what we can see, is the womb outside, the uterus, the menstrual cycle. How does she feel? What is her libido? Is she feeling okay hormonally? What are her emotions? That's the physical aspect. Then I take them into a deeper space where you get to know your unconscious. Ki andar kya chal raha hai? Something that is unseen. That is connecting to the womb of Mother Gaia, the dark part of you, the shadow part of you. And then once we have owned that shadow, now we step into a space, what is known as connecting to the cosmic womb, which is, in other words, spiritual journey seekers talk about it as ascension. You are ascending in your knowing of your own spirituality. And the path is womb consciousness through the womb. So ultimately the destination is one. Sabko udhar hi jana hai, okay? But there are different paths. And I believe, for me, because I'm a woman, born as a woman in this lifetime, this path resonates with me. And that's why I work with it. And I've had wonderful teachers who've taken me on this journey. And at the same time, it gives me joy that there are many women with whom I work, and we all walk towards the ultimate destination of being the ascended one. Yeah.
Evelet, uh, you know, I've always heard about spirituality or connecting within or ascension through your seven chakras, through balancing your seven chakras. Either we use the energy of our heart chakra to connect to the entire universe, or we use the crown chakra to ascend and move to dimensions beyond.
Yes.
However, when I first met you and when we first had the conversation and interaction, I was amazed at how a part of our body which we don't even acknowledge, which we don't even look at most of the time, how is that so powerful? So, can you elaborate a bit more on how the womb connects to the universal energies?
Beautiful question, Kanchan. So, even I started off my spiritual journey by working with the main chakras of the body, the seven chakras, and then, in Ascension, we have the 13 centers and all of that. But when I started working with the womb, I also understood a very important principle of the universe, which is the microcosm in the macrocosm and the macrocosm in the microcosm. If you know what I mean. So I don't know if you've seen these pictures on the internet. I mean, usually on Facebook, some of them post it. So there is this picture which is clicked by, I think it's called the nebula, in the universe, and it looks like an eye, as if somebody's looking at you.
Yeah.
And you also have an eye in your body. All right. Now, the whole understanding of microcosm and macrocosm is, if there is something represented in your body, if you work with it, you can ultimately, you just have to multiply it and extrapolate it to reach to that which is in the universe. If you know what I mean. So when I started working with my own vagina, with my own vulval space, vulva is the external genitalia, the vagina, the cervix, the uterus, my ovaries, I realized that all the seven centers are there even within this space. And
Wow.
when I started studying and going deeper into womb consciousness, in fact, one or two of I have had opportunity to get trained by wonderful teachers, and I really want to mention their names. my teacher in India, her name is Sukhwinder Sirkar. She lives in Calcutta, and she moves between Calcutta and Mumbai. And there is so much that I've learned from her. And my other teacher is Padma Aon, on whose workshop that I went with my dear friend Azelia. And I've done a lot of work with Anaya Sophia. And there are these many teachers, also from the Womb Consciousness book, Azra and Cyrene Bertrand. So what I realized in one of the books, I saw an image of where the entire body, the physical body, has been represented within that uterus and womb space and all of it.
Wow.
So I have a model. I'm going to show it. I didn't think
Please,
to show
please.
it, but I need to show it right now. It's right here. So this is from my days in UNICEF when I used to do training in schools, as a sex education educator for students. So if we look at this entire thing as your own body, then the cervix becomes your heart center. Okay. And all of this are the lower centers, and these are your higher centers.
Yeah.
And each of it, when you work with it, you will know how that part of your heart is represented. So many women who have cervical issues also have issues with their own heart. All those who have external, the lower vaginal canal issues and of the external genitalia, they have issues in their lower 3 chakras. Anything above is, no voice to speak. So many women who have extremely painful menses, is because this cervical canal is shut. My heart is shut.
Oh my God.
I'm feeling pain. I need to feel pain. I need to push
And
that
how we have kind of shamed menstruation, how we have shamed that feeling of having a vagina and a uterus and bleeding and menstruation. सारी जिंदगी बोला गया भैया पीरियड्स हुए ना एक साइड में बैठ जाओ. Like they've been literally a culture in our country wherein we have treated women like untouchable. We've treated them like unpious, if that is a word.
Yeah.
When they have their menses, and we've treated them like, it is so shameful to have your periods. It is so shameful to be bleeding. तो हार्ट चक्रा तो ऑटोमेटिकली ब्लॉक होगा ना. अगर हमारा हार्ट इज अ पार्ट ऑफ द womb, the uterus, if our heart is linked there too, what have we been doing to the women of our world?
Yeah.
Evelet. What have we been?
I know. And that is...
And probably that's the reason most women, they are ashamed of themselves. They have so low self-esteem.
Yeah. In fact, I feel there is this whole culture of silence around sex and sexuality. And of course, our reproductive system is only honored when the woman is pregnant, okay, because she's going to birth a baby. But before that and after that, nowhere is that place or that space given any reverence or any importance. And that is the reason why, while I was, doing my own sadhana with my own body, what came up for me was that I need to call it my womb temple. Because for me, temple is very, very holy and sacred. Now, when I call my yoni, in Sanskrit, the word is yoni. And for everyone's information, yoni is not only the vagina. Vagina is only the canal. But yoni is the whole thing. And, we have Garbha Griha, which is this within that temple, every deity in a temple is placed within the Garbha Griha. Garbha is womb. So we give importance to it in our religion, in our, in our religious practices where we go to pray, we call it the temple. And yet within our own bodies, we don't honor it. So my whole work has been to find that, use the temple.
Dishonor.
Exactly. So use your external temple as a metaphor for this temple which is within you. And the first person to do it has to be us. It has to be women. We put a lot of pressure on men to come and honor the deity. Okay. But what if I have not honored myself? Oh no, we have to teach him how to honor us. But for that, we need to honor ourselves first. And for me, it was difficult because even though I grew up in a city of Mumbai, there was no conversation happening around any topics on sex and sexuality. When I joined to become a medical doctor was the first time that I still remember going, not to my MBBS, but while I was doing MD, that means I must have been in my 20s at that time, to go and look up in the library, how do different vulvas look like? Because I thought I had some deformity down there, because what are we seeing? We are watching porn. And what is shown in porn is all, it's like Bollywood movies, all bogus.
Everything is fake.
Yes, because it's like, the serials where everybody goes to sleep with lots of makeup and ekdam heavy music.
And sari and everything.
We don't do this at home. Sorry, we wear nightie and go to sleep. Remove all makeup. So porn is like that. Porn is the soap opera of sexual, of sexuality or maybe sexual information. So for us, for me, it became very important to reframe my understanding of what is true sexual pleasure. What is this understanding of who I am? And even though there was so much of cultural silence, and when I went to that library and I saw this, there was this whole collage of different kinds of vulvas, and I'm like, ye mera kala hai. So this is normal to me. Okay, because
it's like we have pictures of various shapes of eyes, nose, lips, fingers, but our vagina or vulva is never spoken about. It is like one part of our body which was covered when we were born, and it's been covered ever since. It's surprising that how much pain women are carrying in their heart space, in their mind space, about their own sexual organs.
Absolutely. And the only vagina that we have seen, or the vulva that we've seen, is maybe because now we play with dolls, Barbie dolls. Oh, Barbie doll ka dikta hai, which is like, plain and cleaned up, because she's a grown girl. Barbie doll is a grown girl, but it's not shown naturally, because the natural vulva can, scare the shit out of us. So I invite women, when we do workshops, to take a look at your own vulval space. We call it vulva, or the external genitalia, if you want to use the medical terms, to really get intimate with your own body and see how beautiful you are. I've had women, I work a lot with women from our country in India, and they say, oh, my, niche bahut dark hai. My inner thighs are dark. Hello, it is meant to be dark. We have lots of melanin in our body. Gift. It is meant to be dark. But what are we comparing ourselves with? वो ad में ना उसके पैर, उसके thighs एकदम clean दिखते हैं. They're airbrushed. They put makeup.
They Photoshop.
So we have sanitized even our sexuality and our bodies. Over sanitized them. We are showing fake everywhere. So women are confused. Young girls are confused, and they are like applying bleaching creams. That's a sensitive area. Damn it. It's like the inside of your nose. The mucosa is sensitive. You can't put stuff in there. Hello. But somebody has to tell this to women. Somebody has to speak this. And I think, somewhere God picked me up I was reading this that day, the missing zygote. And I'm like, I was this missing zygote, just picked up and said, Chal, abhi kar le ye wala kaam. So that is what it is.
Somebody has to,
Yeah.
uh, you know, hold the sword and move forward into the battlefield, telling all women that, hey, you there, you are not ugly. Hey, you there, your body parts are not shameful. Hey, you there, there's nothing to feel guilty about menstruation. Hey, you there, your body is a temple. Your vulva, your vagina, your uterus is a temple. It's a sacred space to be honored. You give birth to a life from there.
Beautiful. That
Evelet,
is the truth.
I learned it from you.
We all learn it from each other. Thank you. Thank you, Kanchan. And I honor the powerful woman in you too. Because even to put this out as a subject for conversation, it takes a lot of
And
courage.
today we hardly have any viewers, any audience.
It's
Imagine
all
how
right.
scared are people to even be seen live during a conversation which is about
Yeah,
sexuality or women genitals.
yeah. Because we, it has been, we've been shamed for it. And most conversation happens closed doors. Now, when it is happening closed doors, the only fear is that, are you hearing it or listening to it from a person who has knowledge on the subject, or someone, who is just, just speaking from either udhar? Or are you having conversations from, someone who has experienced all of it? Today, now at the age that I am, having been a young girl, having been going through my teenage years, been the woman in love, got married, having had my children, and now I am premenopausal, almost there menopausal. So for this whole gamut, this whole cycle of life, at this stage today, I feel I am now comfortable talking about it. Even when I would do the sessions in schools, with the children, there was so much that I learned from them. Today is the world of internet. They have access to every damn information under the sun. Okay.
However, the information on internet is not the complete information.
It
You need to
isn't.
go within, you need to meditate, you need to learn what your body is all about. Because ultimately, we are living in our bodies. Our life is inside this body. The soul might travel later. But right now, you need to honor where you are. It's your home.
Exactly. But the whole idea here is, Kanchan, that, people will watch porn. They will learn all about sexuality and sexual positions and everything from porn. Okay. I also learned it from that. That was my source of information in the beginning. And then because I was a medical student, I was also reading up the books and, but that was over medicalized. And this was totally fake. So, then you're kind of experimenting. And I'm very lucky I have a wonderful husband. And to understand and to delve into a subject like this, for even a woman to ask for pleasure, that, I was having a conversation with my friend Vinita today. And, we spoke of this, where a woman needs to be able to tell her partner what really, turns her on, which part of her body is sensitive. But some of us have learned that, oh, the nape of the neck is sensitive, or the wrist may be sensitive, or maybe the breast, or maybe the inner thighs, or maybe the toes. But which part of your woman is sensitive? Or if I'm a woman, which part in my body is sensitive? So if I don't know, then our man is grazing in the wrong field. You know, it's like that. And we had such a good laugh when we spoke about this. So
Yeah.
as a woman, I need to know what are the erogenous zones in my body. And then I'm going to lead my man. I'm going to tell him, do more of this. I need this. But for that, we need to start talking. We need to start communicating. Today, if I can speak like this, it's because for years the work has happened. It doesn't happen overnight. Let me tell you. The first time I stood and I took a class for students, I was shaking like a leaf. No pun intended. And, it is the truth. I was shaking. I was afraid. I had fight and flight. My throat went dry. Everything was crazy. I dropped all my, my modules, my charts, and everything. This was way back in '99, while I was doing my MD, and we had to do a class for students. But then it has been a journey, and I'm grateful for the journey, and I really want, more, lots of young women to be talking on this, because I see this new generation to be young, feisty. They are so sassy and badass. They know what they want.
We are following our footsteps, Evelet.
Yes.
And being role models, we have responsibility. We have responsibility not only towards ourselves, but responsibility towards the whole of the universe and all of womanhood. Please take charge of your body. Please own your body. Please respect yourself. Evelet, what is the consequence of women not respecting their wombs, not respecting their vagina or their sexuality? What is the consequence?
So what really happens is when a woman is not in touch with her body, and especially her reproductive system, that which gives birth to another being, what really happens is we end up using that space in our body as a empty storehouse. All the kachra, when you have a house and you have this one little extra room, ek kona, which you don't know iska kya kare, isme kya rakhne ka, kya nahi rakhne ka, kuch samajh mein nahi aata hai. Everything that is extra goes there and gets dumped. So our womb space also becomes an emotional dumping ground. This is what I have seen in my work with women.
Wow.
And, old lovers, I am angry with my mother, so that whole mother story there, the whole father story there, that, I don't get along with my husband, I have issues with them, but I don't talk about it. So where do? I take everything, I dump it there. Everything is going,
Your
a
anger,
lot of it,
your
a lot,
frustration.
yes, a lot of it is going there. Now, what it does to the energy of the space, it starts creating various issues in that physical space. We all know that first, any physical, any symptom comes in the energetic space and then manifests in the body. So, of course, we are not aware of our emotional issues, and when we are not aware, we are not working with it, they keep on growing. And then we have stuffed it into our womb space. That's why then there are painful periods. There are no periods because of PCOD or PCOS. Of course, there are hormonal issues, but we go one step behind. We go to see what is the emotional cause that has caused this physical ailment. What is PCOD? A lot of or PCOS is a number of egg follicles start getting, there are cysts that are happening within the ovaries. And if we look at mind body medicine or metaphysical medicine, it talks about cysts being filled either with water, like fluid, or serum, or with blood. Cysts are nothing but little pockets of anger. So we are angry with somebody or something, and it's like bubbling up there. It's heated up. When a papad, when you roast a papad, you get bubbles. You take similes. The nature, outside nature, is forever giving us similes. It's teaching us through metaphors, if only we have the eyes to see. So PCOD is nothing but that, deceiving with anger. There is some anger. Sometimes it is your own. Sometimes it comes from your lineage, from your maternal lineage. Because remember, you were in your mother's womb for 9 months. Not only that, as an egg, you developed in your mother's ovary while she was in her mother's womb. That means you are carrying a DNA imprint or memory right from your grandmother, maternal grandmother, your mother, and you. You have at least 2 generations of katra and hisab that you are already carrying. And then we add our own. So when we don't take care of our womb health, we are not paying attention to our menstrual cycles. You know, a lot of women say, "Oh, मेरा ना आज बहुत important meeting है, मैं गोली खा लूंगी तो मेरा ये menses नहीं आएगा." You know, we just push it here and there. I understand if it is once in a way you have a wedding to attend and blah blah, or
आज ये
some
पूजा है, आज ये पूजा है, आज ये व्रत है.
yes. Once in a while, it's all right. You can play, but not every
So,
time.
you know, that I've seen those instances growing up.
Yeah. So paying attention to your
Growing up, I
cycle.
have seen these instances where
You were saying something, Kanchan?
Evelet, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I was saying that, you know, growing up, I have seen, I belong to a very orthodox, middle class, simple, humble background. And I have seen the women of the family being told by the women of the family that abhi ye puja aane wala hai, you cannot have your periods, तो तुम ये गोली खा लो.
Hmm.
अभी ये व्रत आने वाला है, यू कैनॉट हैव योर पीरियड्स, तो अभी ये गोली खा लो. बिकॉज पीरियड्स अगर हो गया तो आप गंदे हो गए. पीरियड्स अगर हो गया, मेंस्ट्रुएशन अगर आपका हो गया, तो यू आर पुट इन वन कॉर्नर ऑफ द हाउस with one chaddar, one takya, and somebody is giving you the plate of food to eat in.
Yeah.
Let alone movement or anything else. You know, now that we have the wisdom, now that I at least I go back uh, to ancient wisdom and understanding of why women were asked to rest during the menstruation, it is a different logic altogether.
Completely. Completely.
And we forget why we started the process in the first place, and we get tied down in the rituals that
Yes,
ऐसा बोला गया, ऐसा करना है, ऐसा ही रहना है.
correct. Why was the woman asked to stay out? Because for those 5 days, if we look at a menstrual cycle energetically, during the menses, so those 5 or 6 days or 7 days of bleeding is when the woman's energy is inward. She is very sensitive. She is, her energy space is very, it's like a thin veil. They say the veil between the unconscious and the conscious is very thin during her menses. She is closest to God at that time. So, as against saying that, you know, you don't touch the Devi, because you are Devi. You don't have to touch anybody else because you become the Devi in those 5 or 6 days. And that is when you are shedding out the old layer. It is more like the womb is in grief that a pregnancy did not happen. That endometrial layer, which is shedding, if there was a pregnancy, that would turn into a placenta. The placenta is what
Yes.
feeds the baby for 9 months in the womb. But because there wasn't a fertilization, or there was no, maybe no fertilization or no ovum happening, or fertilized ovum coming there, the uterus then sheds that. It's letting go of that lining which would have formed the placenta. Now
And
imagine this lining has so many stem cells. Today we are doing stem cell research. We are saving cord blood of the baby in blood banks. But believe me, every month when
yes,
you shed, it has millions of stem cells in your own menstrual blood. So during our workshops on menstrual magic, what I teach the women is take that blood and water your plants. Use a menstrual cup, you know, water your plants and watch them grow, because there is so much of nutrients in their blood. There is so much of nitrogen that your plants will thrive. Your garden will look green. My office is full of plants and they are all watered with womb blood.
Evelet, Evelet, you know, when I personally went through the womb healing session with you, on the third or the fourth day, I broke. I broke like crazy. I called you up and I said, I can't continue. I cannot do this. I cannot take this healing journey further. It is so intense. The kind of emotions we carry inside us is unbelievable. What is it that can be that can be done to train our little girls? Today, when I started my menstruation, I was like 14, 15. But today girls, they start their menstruation at the age of 8. What
Yes.
can be done so that the parents are more aware, and the children, the girls, they do not carry trauma within them?
So
What
what
is it
I
that we can do?
yes. So thank you for this question. You know, we live in such a wonderful country, and if we cut across the different states in our country, especially our southern states, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, maybe Andhra Pradesh, and some parts of Karnataka, where when a girl menstruates for the first time, we call it her menarche. When she menstruates for the first time, there is a celebration.
Celebration.
There is a party happening. Okay, she's gifted gold. She's dressed up like a goddess. They've put on flowers, and you know the whole community celebrates. What do they celebrate? They celebrate that this young girl will one day be a mother. They don't want her to be a mother, but they celebrate that she will be mother.
They celebrate her fertility like we
Yes,
celebrate the fertility of Mother Earth.
exactly.
We have so many festivals in our culture celebrating the fertility of Mother Earth.
Yes.
We
But
have
when we have come to cities and we have lived in the cities, and like I said, we have a sanitized culture. Oh, you got your menses. Okay, use these pads. See that you don't stain your panty. It's smelly. So see that you use some perfume during those days. If you're feeling unwell, you can, if there is too much of pain, just take a crocin. But you got to go to school. You got to go to work. You can't lie down. Now, what we have done, we have pathologized, we have medicalized menses which are natural. We have taken away ritual, we have taken away ceremony, we have taken all that away, which is ours, from that young girl. How is she ever going to love her menses if we as mothers have not taught her that? My mother also didn't teach me. I'm sure because her mother may not have taught her. But today I know better. So when my daughter had her menses, even though I come from a Catholic family, I dressed her up and, I made a little meal for her. And in the beginning, she says, "What is all this, Ma? What is all this?" You know how kids are, they don't like anything. But today she owns her body. She knows what she's going through. She's aware of her
so
cycle. She's in touch with her body. So this is what I request every mother, first the mothers, because we are closest to our daughters. We have a womb to womb connect. So when she starts menstruating, greet her, do a little ceremony. If you can't do a ceremony, then I will do a ceremony for her, for your daughter. Maybe we can put out a workshop for daughters, for young girls who are going to, who've had a menarche in the last few months. We'll do a ceremony. Make her feel important. Connect to the feminine within her. Dress up.
it should be so beautiful if we can change the belief system of the last couple of generations, of the last few hundred years, wherein we have forgotten the reasons for our ritual, and we have just made it into a pathological, a psychological
Yes,
to do task list.
yes,
And because it had become a task list, it is somewhere vanished.
yes,
And
absolutely.
imagine how beautiful it'll be when little girls, they start owning their body and they start celebrating being fertile rather than feeling ashamed and pain and traumatized about it. Oh my god, periods aa gaya, itna problem.
Yeah,
Like women look at menstruation and their vagina and their bleeding as the greatest challenge in their lives.
absolutely. And media is not
How
helping.
can you change?
Yeah. No, and media is not helping either because, if you see all the ads for the sanitary pad.
Somewhere.
Hello?
We're starting somewhere. We are starting here.
Yes, of course. But I want to bring the attention to, some of the sanitary pad ads that they have. They'll show the girls wanting to wear a white pant, you know. But let me tell you, on the days of your periods, you will want to wear red because you are connected to that color, the color of blood, the color of life. अभी ये एड वाले को पता नहीं है ना कौन बना रहा है एड मेरे को व्हाइट पहनना है चलो तो मैं ना ये वाला पैड पहन लूं Kanchan, the work with the body has been so beautiful that some days when I'm a little busy with my work and I don't have maybe I don't have the sense that I'm going to have my periods in the morning I pick up a dress and usually if I have picked up red in the evening I would have my periods. It's so beautiful that the body knows it even before my mind could have comprehended it.
Of course, our body knows, and that is why we PMS.
Yes, we do.
Today,
Oh, thank
PMS has
you.
become a challenge.
You know why? Because we do not believe in the cyclical nature of a woman. We are like nature. अभी समझो पूरे साल समर होगा क्या होगा भाई everything is going to get dried up. Imagine if it's going to be winter for the whole year. Imagine if it's going to rain the whole year or it is spring the whole year. Nature knows there is some wisdom behind cycles, and our body, the woman's body, undergoes this cycle every 28 days of the month.
We
So
like
when
we like the moon cycle.
yes, so when we are menstruating, we are in the winter period of our cycle. As soon as once the periods are over, we are in spring. During ovulation, we are in our summer period. And then our autumn is when the PMS happens. So what happens in autumn normally? The leaves are shed. What is happening during PMS? Our old emotions that we don't need. वो जूना वाला बॉयफ्रेंड ने जो तकलीफ दिया था वो सब निकल रहा है उसको पकड़ के रखना है क्योंकि वो गोडाउन वाला रूम है रखेंगे उसको नहीं निकालेंगे हम पकड़ के रखेंगे तो क्या होगा पीएमएस होगा because you're going against the grain. What needs to shed and go, become aware. So this month my body says, okay, I want to release the anger that I'm holding towards my mother, and it's coming up. So there are beautiful practices. You can journal, put on some Bollywood music, dance it out.
Or you
You
can take it out on your husband.
अरे बेचारे husband को छोड़ दो यार. Use him only for the sexual pleasure. I'm telling you. That will bring you benefits and dividends.
We have
Yeah.
Dr. Gitanjali with us. She says many women still think that the menses are about having kids, and the moment that part is done, they neither feel the need or the urge to stay connected to their cycles or body. And rest years are supposedly so burdensome.
So true. Gitu, my darling, in fact, this I feel is a good moment for me to also share with whoever's present here and whoever's going to listen to the talk, that we've had today. That Dr. Gitanjali and me, we will be putting out a workshop called the Orgasmic Woman. Okay, for women to bring yourselves back to pleasuring yourselves, and it is okay, and it is your right to be that woman who pleasures herself.
It is our right as humans to be
Yes.
able to experience every pleasure of the world, whether it be the sun, the moon, the earth, the sky, the water, or our own body. Why are we denying ourselves of ourselves is what I fail to understand.
Yeah.
Why, Dr. Evelet? Why do women deny themselves of pleasure?
Yeah, because we live in a society where the constructs are very strong. There is a very clear right and a wrong. There is no. It's like black or white. Kala dhan, safed dhan. There is no gray in between. इसके लिए तो 50 shades of gray बना. इसके लिए तो लिखा. There is a gray area, and we can pleasure ourselves. We can, and we can learn. And once we learn, we can teach our men, we can teach our partners, whoever it is, whether the partner is a male or a female, you can teach them. You can tell them what you want. But what has happened is over the years, the knowing is like I've had conversation with women where women said that if they were the ones to initiate a sexual, intercourse or a sexual session with their partners, they were thought to be very slutty and ये तो बहुत forward है ये तू कहाँ से सीख के आई those typical Bollywoody dialogues. No, she's an empowered woman. She's a woman who knows her body, and that is why she's telling you what she likes, and she may teach you a thing or two, because I truly believe women are innately wise. Sorry boys, but that's what I.
Of course they are. Of course they are. Women are the wisdom keeper of the world.
Yeah, but then
Please carry on,
but we
Evelet.
want the boys on our side, so but that's the thing. Owning that pleasure, knowing that it is your right. So many women I know now, sometimes I remember meeting women in our sessions 5 years, 10 years, married, no sexual intercourse. I'm like, why are you living like sages in your grihast ashram? You should have gone to the mountain and been a monk. That way of life is also okay. Everything is okay. But what do you want? We have to be true to what we want and then walk that path and then own it. Even if we are trolled and even if people will say, "Arey, ye to aisi hai, waisi hai," theek hai. Hum jaise hain, achhe hain. Yeah, that's what it is.
Thank you, Dr. Gitanjali. It's a pleasure to see you here present with us during this show. Uh, Evelet, one more question is coming to my mind. That is that the spiritual energy of the womb, why has it not ever been spoken about? Why have sexuality of women only been spoken about in the context of um, being dirty, or women just being made for sex or for childbirth or slavery? Why has women's power within their womb, which can help them in spiritual ascension, which can help them to become the power women of the world, which can help them to become the warrior queens, why has that been suppressed over the years?
See, what has happened is we have not crossed beyond our woundings. So even if we look at our own womb space, there is lots of sexual trauma hidden there. Lifetimes and lifetimes, and the
Many
word you
lifetimes.
use, yes, and the word you use was slaves. That is the best way to enslave somebody, and we do it to ourselves too.
Yes.
When we are not in power, we are giving of ourselves, and we as women have used it also for our benefit, to manipulate. I have seen where sex has been,
Yes.
is being used, in corporate spaces or in any space, even in homes, where it is used to manipulate. So we have played with that energy. Once that wounding is healed, once that energy, which is all knotted up, is cleared out, now this energy then becomes ready to ascend and go into the spiritual realm. But हमने उधर उसको इतना खिचड़ पट्टी करके रखा है ना कि वो उसके ऊपर हम निकल ही नहीं पा रहे. And both men and women have done this. The men have been the perpetrators, the women have been the victims, and now the women have become the perpetrators for themselves. And so this whole cycle keeps on repeating. Perpetrator, victim, फिर rescuer आ जाते हैं. तुम्हारे मेरे जैसे जो आंदोलन चलाते हैं. Like I remember, as as a trainer.
No, I don't want to be the
abuse.
rescuer.
ये rapist को तो मरना चाहिए, ये करना चाहिए वो. We are caught in that cycle. But somewhere
I
recognizing.
don't want to be the rescuer.
Yes. So
Done with being the victim, the perpetrator, the rescuer, all three of them. We rather coach and mentor ourselves.
exactly. Now you are giving a pathway or an intention to that energy. Now, when you are, coming in sacred union with your partner, with your beloved, you are giving an intention or a pathway to that energy. And that is the spiritual work with sexual energy. If you know and you hold a strong intention and you orgasm, believe me, that is instant manifestation happening. Okay, I've tried it. You can try it. Do it for fun. वो लॉ ऑफ अट्रैक्शन सीक्रेट वो सब पढ़ते हैं, ठीक है, ये भी ट्राई करके देखो. This is fast. Just the other day, we had a lovely, like a meeting with all our women, and part of this group called Joyous Women with my teacher. And she mentioned that the womb is a magnetic space. We are electromagnetic beings. The womb is magnetic, and our heart is electric. Magnet attracts towards you, but it'll attract towards you that what you wish for, or that who you are. If I am goddessy, if I'm full in my power, I attract another woman who is in her space. I attract another man who is fully owning himself. अगर मैं टूटेला माल हूं तो मेरे को टूटेला माल ही मिलेगा. So we need to do our inner work, and that is the whole thing. So that is why spiritual consciousness through sexuality, was dabbled into. When we look at tantra or the work that Osho did, he did it way before time, and people misunderstood because they're stuck in that wounding space. अभी हम लोग ग्राउंड फ्लोर पे है तो वो 20th फ्लोर से व्यू समझा रहा है, अपनी को क्या समझ में आने
समझ आएगा
फिर बोलेंगे नहीं तू तो गलत बोल रहा है. Osho was on the 20th floor. His book From Sex to Super Consciousness is awesome. It's a little pocket. I call it, what you call a little packet of mirchi. तो पढ़ेंगे ना तो बराबर मतलब मिर्ची लग जाएगी ऐसे. But you got to be in that consciousness to understand. We have spent way too much time in this jagada jugudi and all of that we haven't ascended above, and not used that energy as a vehicle. We are still calling people shame. Oh, she's like this. वो ना उसके extra marital affair हो रहा है. वो ना ये है. वो ना वो है. अरे छोड़ दो. Forget about others. Stop judging people. Look at your own life. As soon as we work with ourselves and we walk the path, we will stop judging another person for their way of life and what they do, unless it is really affecting somebody or it's affecting you. Till then, sit back and relax.
Evelet, the questions in my mind aren't stopping, but the time is ticking. We have a time marker here, and I wish to call you and Dr. Gitanjali together sometime again.
Yeah,
and I'm so looking forward to your workshop in September.
Yes. Oh, August. On Janmashtami. Yes.
Yeah, in August. And women out there, if you feel any fear, shame, guilt, pain, trauma, sorrow around yourself, within yourself, during your menstruation, before your periods, which is called PMS, or maybe a day after your periods, your moon cycle is directly connected to your womb. Your womb is directly connected to the earth. The ratio of water on the earth and the ratio of water in the womb when you are conceiving or when you have conceived a child is the same. So you can imagine the kind of power your womb carries. It carries the power of being Mother Earth. It carries the power of giving life. Nurture it, own it, love it, respect it. And if you want to learn how to do it, we have Dr. Evelet Sequiera with us. Do connect with her on social media and own your power. Let the new world be the world of feminine rising. And for that, we have support. We have support available through Sacred Womb Academy, Sacred Lotus Womb Academy, wherein Dr. Evelet Sequeira trains women to own their power, to own their body, to enjoy their life, to experience sexual pleasure, not to feel guilty about yourself, not to feel guilty about your body. Thank you so much, Evelet. Thank you so much for coming to Chai Shai. I wish I could bend time and we could stretch this conversation, but for some other time, we'll surely talk more. Thank you so much for
Thank
explaining
you.
our
Thank you, Kanchan. Thank you. Thank you for this platform. I'm very grateful to you and to the universe for this space. And to all my sisters who joined in today. And to the brothers as well.
everybody. I could mention all your names, but thank you so much for being there and supporting us. Um, Beena is here, Shamim is here, Shaheen, and Indrani is here, Harish Singh is here, and I am sure there are many, many more people who haven't commented, but they are watching and they'll benefit out of this conversation of ours. Thank you so much,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Evelet, for coming
Thank you.
to Aisha. My honor.
Thank you. And bye-bye.
Bye bye. Good night.
Good night.
Guys out there, take care of yourself. Love